Hey everyone. So today I want to talk about cues. The Octatrack to me is the ideal performance tool, and I think it shines the most when you are improvising on it. And so the way that I do that is I like to use cues extensively so that I have an opportunity to preview whatever I'm doing before I introduce it into my mix, and that creates a much cleaner mix in the end. So to start, I'm going to go over my routing. Track 1 is a constantly recording 4-bar loop. I have a record buffer on the 1, as I described in my last video. This allows me to be perpetually recording and re-recording a 4-bar loop of the main mix. I have it set up here in source 3. And I have it set to be soloed in scene 3 so that I can be building a track here, and then when I want to introduce some new elements, I can just crossfade over to this track and then start changing up what's going on in the background. Track 2 is my melodic loops. So to demonstrate, well, not so melodic this time, but you get the picture. There you go. Track 3 is my top rhythms, and track 4 is my kick rhythms. So the thing about track 3 and track 4 is I actually have my top rhythms all in one folder and my kick rhythms all in one folder. And this allows me to quickly preview all of my kicks and all of my hats. And not only that, but if they're in the same folder, I can actually press function right and left to cycle between them. So this is helpful if you have your folder organized progressively, as far as, you start with one kick and the next kick over is the next one that you actually want to play. So this makes it really quick. So if I have, for example, if I'm resampling the entire set and then I switch over to solo my resample track, then in the background I can just cycle to the next track every file. Track 5 is a static machine which triggers long form tracks. So I pre-warped these in Ableton, and then I introduced them to the Octatrack where I set the tempo in the attributes manually. And this saves time on beat matching, which I think the Octatrack doesn't do super well at times. So this eliminates any of that concern, and I have all these pre-warped tracks that I can refer to if I don't feel like, spitting stuff off the top of my head with the OP1. Speaking of which, this through machine is for my OP1. And this pickup machine is recording my through track. It's not recording the OP1 directly, and this allows me to record the effects and the LFOs through the through track into the pickup machine. Track 8 is my master. So first of all, I'm going to demonstrate the use of my resampling track, and this will help solidify the purpose of using cue tracks and introducing new material. So first I'm going to set this so that cue is all the way in. Okay, here we go. Record trig on the first beat. Disarm it so it doesn't happen again. Now it's playing. So now I'm playing directly from track 1. You can tell because I can mute it. I can also slow it down. And I can actually crossfade that with what's going on. Cool, so while I'm actually doing that, say I'm playing this, and in the background, I want to start introducing some new material. So I cue up these 3. Well, let's start with this. Change out the kick. Say it like that. And then I'm going to change this out. Cool. So now I can crossfade this over. And then, once I'm ready for that, I rearm this, so I'm resampling, and the process starts over. So that's my first trick. Something else I want to go through on this video is the use of the through machine and the pickup machine. So these two have a really special relationship because if I mute and cue up the through machine, obviously you can hear it through the cue out, but you can also, because the pickup machine is set to track 6, it's not actually going to play out of the pickup machine until it's recorded. And so this adds an extra buffer of time for you to practice what you're about to introduce to the loop machine. Most people who play with loop pedals are familiar with the idea that if you mess it up, it's just going to sound terrible over and over again. And if you are a perfectionist like me, that really starts to grate on you. So something really cool about the Octatrack is I can actually play this stuff. And once I'm ready to record it, I hit record, I stop it, and then it goes in. So I can actually introduce these layers incrementally. And each time I can spend a bit more time making sure that it sounds just right. So I'll introduce that. Try it out. Let's try a different hi-hat here. Cool. So notice when the melodies that I'm playing come out of the cue versus when they actually play out of the pickup machine. So as you can see, I have as much time as I want to play the melody that I want. And once I know that it's going to sound good, then I record it in, and then the sanctity of the mix is preserved. One other trick I want to talk about with regards to the pickup machine is the fact that the pickup machine is using, as the manual has stated, the pickup machine is using the record buffer that is assigned by default to each track. So with track 7, my pickup machine is hardwired to record buffer 7. And what that means is I can actually set up a different part, or I can switch over manually to flex machine. And the record buffer, if I go to audio edit, it will actually show the audio track that I recorded. The thing that's so cool about that is, for example, say I have my pickup machine and I'm playing it. I have part 2 set up so that everything is identical except the fact that this pickup machine is a flex machine. So what that lets me do is I can seamlessly move between using it as a loop and using it as a sample that I have pre-sliced. And so another important tip is to make sure that when you do have it set to flex machine, that it is sliced to 16 or to whatever configuration you're looking for. When you record a new loop in, there may be some discrepancies, some little pops, but all you have to do is go back into function audio edit and hit slice real quick, and it'll remedy itself. Not the most seamless thing, but if you're doing it on the fly, you won't notice it. So now I have my 2 parts. So say I have this loop. And then I'm about to go to part 2. So now I can do all kinds of stuff with this. So that's pretty much how I have my pickup machine set up. Hopefully this gives you some more new tools to try out with regards to live performance on the Octatrack, and helps dispel some of your fears about performing live with the Octatrack. Obviously, even when I was doing that, there were some mistakes being made and things like that, but at its core, the Octatrack has so many tools that can also protect you against making needless mistakes and things like that, that it's just important to sort of build those into your set as you go and figure out what system works best for you. So this is kind of the system that I've decided on so far. It's constantly evolving, but the eventual goal is to have a set that I can confidently step in with very little preparation to begin with, just a library of sounds, and I can just sort of fly for several hours at a time. So yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned next week.